Yeah. Yeah.
Are you gonna moderate? You're gonna moderate again. No crazy questions.
The crazier the better, my man.
No, but nothing's too crazy.
1 2 1 2. 1.
Hello. 1 2 3 4 5.
Yo, 1 2 3. So is your thing fine? Your code?
Yeah. Genzakale last week.
No, my code was. I did that fire intro and then I had to do it again. Okay, Jen, so what are we speaking about? We're speaking about Chiefs. The moves that they've made now. Is it going to make a difference, basically?
When has it ever?
That's the first question. So then who's sitting where?
That's what I was asking. When
who's sitting
I'm
where?
Speak my feeling, man.
Chief is contention.
I'm gonna speak my feelings, and my feelings are on the side. Yeguti, what are they trying to do? Actually, like they should have gotten lodged. What? I'm on that side.
So you're the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm the bad guy. Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight for Chiefs. Chiefs is trash, bro.
Guys, you can't make me fight for Chiefs.
No, you have to.
You can't make me of all the people in the world.
In between.
Of all the people in the world, me.
You're wearing the shirt even under.
I am wearing the shirt.
Then rip with pride.
Thank you.
Rip with pride.
I'll take it off during.
Rip with pride.
Will you? That will be interesting. Actually,
I'll take it off during.
That's 100 views.
I know.
Bro,
guys, I'm here. Don't worry.
Do it.
That's close to 1,000 subs off one episode. It's crazy.
Yeah, but we need
let's kill another one.
Okay, points quickly. You gonna let me know, ne? We're not live right now.
We're going for 45
We're
minutes.
live.
Yeah, you're on YouTube.
Oh, Chief.
What do you mean? You know.
Why are we doing BTS?
All the time. That's the point. It must be like that. That's another added. Don't worry.
Yeah, Marakeram is
go,
gonna
boys.
let me know
Let's go.
every
40, right?
10 minutes. Every 10 minutes. Okay.
We're going until 1.
No.
What are we doing?
I guess it's 30-15.
That's so short. Okay.
It's 30-15.
Yeah, it's proper.
Okay.
Punchy.
Since we're live, Heban.
You're alive. That camera.
Welcome everybody to Threeman Press. 3 of the best minds. I saw a comment saying that, 3 of the best minds. What do you mean? Well, you're going to find out just now. To my left, of course, I've got Uli Ndopela. We're now all together. We're no longer on... I've got Uli Ndopep on the left-hand side, representing the brand that is now behind us, our friends at Sport Pesa, make it count. And then, of course, we've got Utlalifang, football with Utlalifang on the left-hand side, right-hand side of me. You will be able to find any of us on the usernames I'm going to put up later.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to jump straight into it.
Yeah.
Last week, we were on top of Pirates.
Yeah.
Chiefs went and announced some signings. Three signings have been announced so far. And we've got questions. Lindo, with the 3 signings you saw, what are you thinking about this?
I think bully some pressers. We've been pressing the last couple of weeks. Please support the people that support us, which is Sports Pesa. I hope you guys are good. Another football week. Interesting. The transfer window always brings these stories. I guess that's why we are here to have these conversations. First thought, when I saw Ucheslin, I think Chislet, yeah, Fabio Silva, and the other boy, Mushinga, is unproven. Are they ceiling raisers? In my opinion, no.
Based on what?
I haven't seen them, to be honest with you.
So then you can't just say they are not ceiling raisers. You can't just say that because you haven't watched them.
Why did they leave Europe? That's a big question. I don't think Mina Khalifang was over Europe if they would genuinely had the quality. Big clubs don't release their special players. And for me, the fact that they got the Cheslet boy on a free, I don't want to say much. I don't want to be too critical to the players because I haven't really genuinely seen them play. What I've seen on Ucheslen is that he's a technician. Looks like he's very good in terms of set piece. From the little I've seen, seems like he's a box midfielder, one that plays on the second ball, joins late in the box and finishes. But for me, what interests me most, George, is the football intelligence of the player. I really want to watch a player. I mean, I'm still old school. Ang dito my YouTube shorts, my YouTube highlights. I still want to watch the player. The other guy I genuinely watched was Fabio Silva. He looks deadly, can finish both left and right, very tall. He's got the energy to move in between our pockets. But like I said, George, we still Kaizer Chiefs has brought most of these players, about Gonzalez, about Again, and they came into the club, they haven't proven
Themselves.
Another thing, George, which is important to mention with Ucheslet is he might have done well where he comes from League 2, League 1. Will he be able to cope with the pressure Kaizer Chiefs? Kaizer Chiefs is a massive club. And this is one thing that Utera Maliwa will actually realize the season. The head of scout, Chiefs, Chiefs is not Mamelodi Sundowns. It might have worked with Mamelodi Sundowns because of the structures that are within the club. I love the interview with Bobby where he said everybody's involved. And that's exactly what happened.
I don't like it, but it's fine.
Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, they will ask him questions. He's there on the market. Fabio Silva, we wanted in a police. He was there on the market. We wanted Tumbuli. He was there on the market. Are these players that Kaizer Chiefs bringing in, are they ceiling raisers? I think we still have to answer that question.
Khalifang, one guy is a striker from Indonesia. Another guy was playing League 2 football in England. Another guy just got promoted to Portuguese league, the top league.
Yeah.
What do you think of these signings?
I think the most important thing to ask is, what is Chiefs trying to achieve with these signings, right? So a lot of the time, is there a philosophy and an outlook as to, okay, these are the kind of players we need to achieve this thing? Does Chiefs have a structure, an identity, a philosophy that these players fit in to achieve whatever they want to achieve? So now a signing can be a signing. It doesn't really matter, right? If he fits well into the process and the philosophy and whatever they need, it can work. But does Chiefs even have that is the real question. Because you can be signing wherever and sign, and then what? Because it's just signing for the sake of signing. Because everyone else is signing. Because it also sends a statement for, okay, cool. Everybody else is signing when what's your point? What are you trying to do here? So I think there's also the pressure of that.
Yeah.
So it could work. I don't know. But, bro,
they need a team. I agree with California.
Like, what's the point? What are you trying to achieve is the question.
Yeah.
With all of this.
Before even talking about achieving, George, in my opinion, I think they need a team.
I
believe they don't have a team.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay,
defend your team.
Go for it.
I'm gonna try to defend my team. I don't think the signings are an issue, but I think that the holes that Chiefs have are not player holes, and I think what Chiefs is missing for me personally, you need a leader. You know, I cry for the Tefuma Shamaite days. I cry for somebody who can come in and hold that thing. I like what Lindo spoke about the size of Chiefs. You don't need everybody to be great players, but you need certain players who can be leaders on the pitch. And Chiefs doesn't have that. And I don't know these three, but I don't see that with them.
What do you mean leader? What's a leader? What do you mean?
Okay, so the way I've spoken about Chiefs, in my estimation.
Yeah.
Really wait.
Yeah,
since I must defend my team.
Yeah.
Okay, let me defend my team. It's fine.
I'm a cause for life.
Let me defend my team.
With your chest.
Okay.
Full chest.
With Chiefs, one of the biggest things that I've said is that when you're scouting for Chiefs, one of the things you have to scout for is personality and character.
Yeah.
So Chiefs doesn't come with the normal things that normal teams come with. It comes with a lot of spotlight.
Yeah.
It comes with love. It comes with hate. It comes with pressure.
Yes.
And what has happened is that the people we've brought in over the past few years have been people who are afraid.
Yeah.
You know, Basaba.
Who are these people? You guys, you see, we can't just talk and shit.
No, you can speak about most of them. You can speak about your Marts. You can speak about your Chivavairos, your Ntwaris.
Yeah.
You can speak about most of the signings that have been made. That when they get onto the pitch, Ntwari was literally shaking at some point.
Yeah.
You could see him literally shaking every time he had to do something.
Yeah.
Right? So a character is very important, that you understand the limelight, you like the limelight, it fuels you. Do you know why we love Umfundo Vilakazi? We love Umfundo Vilakazi because
He feels like he
feeds
belongs
off
there.
it. Yeah, like he feeds off
Yeah.
it. Like, give me the ball. When he comes onto the pitch, he tells them, give me the ball, I need to go.
Yeah.
But it's not just the star players. When I think of Chiefs as a long-time Chiefs fan, I think of your Tefo Mashamaites, I think of your Patrick Mabedis, I think of your Nengo Mashas, I think of your I guess Katsande.
Don't say, yeah, I guess Katsande.
I think about your Thabo Mokis, I think about those guys who are the other side of the coin.
Okay.
The guys who, it wasn't that the limelight was making them good about tribula or whatever. It's the guys who were calm heads on the pitch. Guys who could lead these guys. Guys who could tell Jabu Pule, Jabu, calm down now. You get what I mean? We don't have players that have strength of character at Kaizer Chiefs right now. So
even with players with influence, George, that they can influence that we need a Jabu Pule to perform for us.
you get what I mean?
You know,
Yeah.
the players then had the influence, and that's why there's a saying, sorry to cut you, there's a saying, Eddie, successful teams are led by players.
Yeah. No, and that's why think about the stories we hear from overseas, Khalifak. Thierry Henry says he arrived at Arsenal.
Yeah.
It was before the North London derby, and he was messing around at practice. Tony Adams grabbed him, and said, "Hey, this is not France. You're not here to mess around." So who's that at Chiefs? Who's the people? You know what I loved about Pirates? Just to give Pirates some credit. You know what I loved about Pirates this week? I saw a meeting where they sat the new signings down with Abolakile Khwati. I think
that
Abo
happens
Happy
at
Chair.
Chiefs,
No.
But wait,
from what I've heard,
it happens at
we
Chiefs.
spoke to Lakile Khwati. He said that that's a Pirates thing where they usually don't show it, but the induction. Who are those guys for us legends-wise who are coming in? But then who are the guys that we're looking at within the team to say that is a Chiefs player who understands what it is? And I'm looking for those guys. And it's not a flashy signing. It's not an expensive signing. But you know leaders. I speak about Tefo Mashamaite. He came from Bidvest at the time. Right? He's a guy who walked in and he was like, oh, okay, that's the leader. When you look at that Chiefs team, I know Mart as the captaincy. And I don't want to speak badly about Mart because I feel like
What
sometimes...
about Miguel? You don't rate? Is it Miguel?
What has
the
Miguel
captain?
shown us?
Yeah.
But when you say
What
shown-
has Miguel shown us leadership-wise? He's been in that team now. We watched him for a season. What has he shown us leadership-wise?
let's now comparatively
Let me put on my specs even.
with other clubs. Who are the leaders in these other clubs that you are seeing that is a leader of a team that you would want to go Chiefs? Who are those people?
Well, okay. Did I want or just people that I can
That
point
you
to?
see that you can point to. Okay,
Ronwen,
this is- Okay.
huge leader. The way he talks, the way he marshals everything.
Okay.
You look at Tebza, is one of the guys that I look at. You can speak about BC last season at Pirates, who really put up his hand as marshalling the defense, running the defense.
United, an exceptional leader.
Like there's and Ulinda was captain of Pirates,
Yeah.
so you see that leadership thing.
But do you see how few and far between they are? It's hard to find that.
Should it be hard? Should it be hard for Chiefs?
Why shouldn't it be hard? Why should it be easy for Chiefs? Is the real question.
Chief, come on. When you look at the financial muscle, when you look at the history, the branding, when you look at the control that Dr. Keizam Taung can exert, it's not by surprise that these players are landing at Pirates.
But now the thing
It's
is,
not by surprise.
No, but the thing is, this is the problem. I don't think Chiefs is what we think that they are.
Okay.
Actually, right. So what we said about Pirates, what I said about Arsenal. As a brand, great.
Yeah.
Stability, money, all these things that you mentioned, Chiefs, are what Arsenal has. But can they attract that person?
No, but the problem
Should
is...
they? You're saying they should.
But the problem is the same as what we say about Arsenal. Arsenal goes into every transfer window, and we leave the window going, Kepa. We just signed Kepa.
Let's not do that. Let's
Jorginho.
Oh, bruh.
Sterling.
Willian.
Listen, no, we've got a list of them.
You guys are traumatized.
No,
I'm
but
gonna be honest with you. You
no,
guys are really traumatized.
But look at Chiefs right now. We signed these 3 players. I don't want to trash the players, but there's no Chiefs person who, with their heart, is going, yeah.
Okay, who would be the signing that you
Guys,
who would be the signing? for you?
Apolis just landed at Pirates. Abonduli are at Pirates.
Yeah.
Like
those are some of the best performing players in the league.
you get what I mean?
They're not maybe like special players in terms of the profile, but I think in terms of performance, I think those are some of the best performing players.
Yes.
You get me?
Nduli, Napolis,
Mbule. You can, however we feel about Mbule,
Yes.
however we feel about Mbule from last week or whatever.
Yeah.
When that signing is made, it's a signing that makes everybody go, wow.
Okay.
Whether you've got a positive or negative reaction, it's a player that inspires something from you. These guys are just walking in.
But maybe it's a thing of when Allende landed, because Sundowns not expected him to do what he.
No, but Sundowns was top.
But Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs are
different.
in a different space in terms of their recruitment.
So what I'm saying, my point is that you talk about Chislet and whoever, right? League 2, they left Europe for Pirate, for Chiefs. Maybe they see a gem there that.
But how many years have we seen a gem, Khalifan? When I spoke about
It's
Chiefs,
not even more about talent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I just feel like can he cope with the pressure that comes with playing for Kaizer Chiefs? Can he cope with the responsibility of performing each and every after 3 days? Does he have that in his character? Which is, for me, it's more important. That's why I think I'm probably the most criticized by saying this. But I think people that understand, or who are people that are in the football fraternity, who understand that when I say Chiefs or Pirates, whether it's Ren, Soweto, Lazi, what, is exactly what I'm talking about. You need somebody who understands the pressure of playing next to or carries the responsibility of over 4 million people.
You make it seem as if League One doesn't have that pressure.
No, but it does have
that pressure every week.
But English football, remember how even English football is structured. It's completely different to what South African football is.
Okay.
In my opinion, English football is very basic. It's about precision, passing from here to there, getting the ball in the box.
But I hear all of that. But when you talk about,
Chiefs needs a special midfielder. Chiefs needs not a midfielder that turns like a track, but a midfielder that turns like.
we're not talking about stylistically how they look.
no, you see, but for me, it still boils down to, besides handling and all of that stuff, guys, you just need to be able to know when you get to Kaizer Chiefs, how do you, as a Konita who understand this thing. Like, we don't get those players. And my issue right now is, again, we're going into the transfer window and we're guessing. I have to wait. I have to be like, okay, let's see what Chislet is going to be like. Yeah. Similar to what we were saying when we saw everybody that has come in. It's like, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Right? And I feel like Upobi, let me actually ask you guys the question. Upobi was on, Prapobi was on
947.
It was on 947 with Rob, and he was speaking about the scouting, and he spoke about how the scouting at Kaizer Chiefs has changed from when he was in charge fully alone, where he was saying Begata to Dr. Kumalo by Hlatini, and they go and watch a player a couple of games, and then they go, okay, fine, Samtata, to now becoming a more stats-based approach, a more modern approach, now, right? Yeah. Has it worked? And were they wrong to change how they were scouting before to what they're doing now because of modern pressure?
Football has changed. And the one thing that actually fascinated me from that conversation was the fact that he kept on mentioning technology. You could feel the frustration from Upobi because to him, he even mentioned something, and that's why he doesn't do a lot of interviews. And I'd also advise him not to do a lot of interviews because he's an honest man, and the South African public doesn't like honest people. And he said that I would watch a player scoring 1 goal, but let's see potential, let's see the quality, But these coaches want a player that scores 13 goals and so on. And to him, you could already tell you about the profile of. He's talking exactly with Fabio Silva to say. I've seen better quality than that, even though the stats maybe don't approve. But I think another conversation we need to have is the development of Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs has the resources, they've got the tools, and I believe that, in my opinion, they do find the best players in the country. They've let go of so many incredible football players. Emil Vetboy, Kulumani Ndamase, currently. There's one they're letting go, their former captain.
Yeah, the former captain.
And if you watch that boy, the captain, very technical player.
Pusori Teja, TS Galaxy.
You know what I mean? But the one that actually surprised me that they let him go, number 10, who's basically Tati, who's more as well as a number 10. Mbapete Udaide touch as an attacking midfield. I think they just promoted the Mbappe Festival. So for me, Kaizer Chiefs has some of the best young players. The only thing is, the biggest question we have to ask is what happens to their special players. yini eyenzakalayo in the development ranks that we don't get the opportunity to see some of those players? Because
Mara,
No,
it has
guys,
happened in School of
we- can
Excellence.
we-
Mara, are we overdoing the development?
No, we're
No,
not.
can we-
No. Do you know why I'm saying that?
Yeah.
I know we speak about Chiefs and Paris' developments from the past as having the best developments, but the truth of the matter is that at any given moment, it was only 1 or 2 players that were making it into the starting
No,
lineup.
but the point is, George, not 1 or 2 now are not at that quality, in my opinion, to be playing for Kaizer Chiefs. You know what?
But there's
Credit
so,
to
no,
Umtu,
but there's
credit to Umtu, credit
Yeah.
to Shabalala, credit to some of the boys that are in that first team.
Yeah.
Right? But in my opinion, Kaizer Chiefs needs a different model. Yes, maybe in those some of those players, some need to go on loan. You know,
No,
that they
I
can
hear
do
you,
it.
but
Yeah,
what-
but George, my bigger point
Yeah.
here is Kaizer Chiefs does have the qualities, they've got the resources.
I
They
hear
should be
you.
having some of the best under 17, under 19 players.
I think they
You know what
have
I mean?
them. I think they have
And then
them.
if the question is what happens to those players?
I
They
just
go
ask-
out. Piwa Shabalala had to go to
Hello.
the first division. Sorry,
Hello,
they
hi.
had to go to the first division to Free State Stars to get promoted to come back. to
Exactly,
Chiefs.
that's
we
my
speak
point.
about a lot of those type of players.
Just quickly, Gary, we keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah,
Right. You talk about the interview, right? That a player scores 1 goal. But you're like, no, there's something there, right? And then, but technology and football now, it prioritizes stats and numbers, right? And performance. When we started this conversation, we spoke about performance. Our police and everybody else, they perform very well, and they're playing for thingy. Kahle kahle nifuna umuntu omnandi.
Yeah, but our league is not a stat league anyway.
Or
Our police doesn't
no.
have good numbers.
No,
Our league is not
wait,
a stat league.
Wait, my question
Yeah.
is, what do you want as
no.
fans?
Here's the difference.
What do you want?
No, here's the difference. When Pirates signs, Pirates has a skeleton of how they want to play. We've spoken about this before. Abo Rile follow Abo Lodge. There's always
Yes, there's
a line
philosophy,
everywhere you go.
there's a pattern,
So
yes.
it's easier to say that maybe Apoli Suzongena la because maybe he has these certain characteristics that fit what Pirates does.
Yes.
The problem with Chiefs, again, for me, is that Chiefs is not about your stats, personally.
What is it about?
It's about your character, personality, and how you fit a team like Kaizer Chiefs. So, for example, I'll use the example of Tefu Mashamaite. Mashamaite might not have been the best option that was on the table.
Okay.
He was probably,
Yeah.
but he might not have been the best stats-wise on paper. But the way he carries himself, the way he was in that team, the way his leadership style
These intangibles.
lent itself to. So maybe when Bobby's saying I go into the bush, maybe Bobby, as somebody who grew up in Chiefs at the time, who grew up in Chiefs, was doing all the stuff, he was in charge. He was best suited to go out and say, as in, there's so many good midfielders in Zimbabwe. But that boy, that Nengomasha boy,
Yeah.
has got something that, and even when he describes it, you can hear that he's saying, I wasn't looking for the 10 goals that the
the
guy
eye
scores.
test.
I was like, man, Law can fit at Kaizer Chiefs. And I think that's the part that is tough for Kaizer Chiefs, is that for me, the qualities that you need for Kaizer Chiefs are not qualities that are going to show up on paper.
So,
100%.
so how do you then,
I believe.
They're not going to show up on
but
paper.
then how do you then, okay, ne, you want to develop a scouting network, right?
Yeah.
A scouting network that goes beyond just locally, it must go in Africa, it must go abroad. Europe, it must go to South America. Don't you think what you're asking for is unreasonable?
Do you have to develop that?
Develop what?
If you are going to bring in 5 or 6 players, do you need a scouting network? Especially when you know that the one that you have been using, the way you've been using, as old as what does
But
it is.
for it to get to 5 or 6 players, it comes from a pool of a lot of players.
And Upobi was doing all of that. Because I can make the argument that Upobi had a higher hit rate
Yep.
when he was doing what he was doing than what they've been doing with the technology.
But now the question is, could that still apply now? Because now we have people that are from abroad, from South America, that are doing wonders for Sundowns, right? For instance,
Yeah.
that they come in and become the best player in the league.
I just think
by
they're getting it
miles.
wrong because they don't have even with the players that they're signing. I feel like if they can get their development right in terms of quality, It's just like Pirates,
So what
getting
is-
Mbogazi,
okay.
getting
What
a
is-
relay into that space. I believe that if they do that, it would allow them to even bring in more quality in the.
But
in the
Umbogazi
first
was
team.
not a
Because
thing, though, Lindo. You know, Umbogazi, they
No,
bumped
but
into
that's
him.
exactly what I'm saying, Uguti. Those are the kind of players they need. You
I
know,
don't
like
know.
at Chiefs, like, or maybe the profile to say, because I genuinely believe some of the players they have with DDC can really do a good job. It's a matter of trust, right? And maybe another question, some people might say, do they really have the quality to play at Kaizer Chiefs? You know what I mean? But for me,
No.
my bigger thing is,
Yeah.
is getting that right. If they can sort out, because for me, Chiefs is one of
No,
the most
but
followed teams. Eh?
Lindo, you're gonna take those kids and you're gonna throw them into a frying pan.
Yes,
because-
These clubs must serve different purposes, George. And Kaizer Chiefs is in a different construction phase of their. You know what? Mamelodi Sundowns plays a different role to a Pirates, to a Chiefs. To Kaizer Chiefs is falling into a cloud where they're a big club, and they can't really get into a space where they genuinely belong. Because for me, this is where South African football needs to get to, and all 16 teams is every club needs to play a role, and clubs should serve their communities. And for me, as Kukune and now Obit needs to give opportunities to players from those areas. Ne? But also, listen, if they do have special players within those teams, those players need to be given an opportunity to move to the big three, because the big three serves a completely different purpose to the other 8 teams. And there's 3 teams or 4 teams that also serve a different purpose. You understand? That's why we even have to give coaches an opportunity, younger coaches in this
But
country.
not
That's
at
why.
Chiefs.
That not a Chiefs.
Chiefs
That's why
is the worst place for kids
but
and
my
new people.
bigger point here is other teams need to understand their roles, and they need to serve different purposes. That's why we would have developed some incredible football players in the next 10 years, 15 years, the next generational coaches, because I'm good that Patela is cheaper. We need to give and we need the chairmen, the technical directors, the fans, the media needs to understand that those clubs serve a different purpose.
I disagree.
You know what I mean?
Do you know why I disagree? We
I
keep
want to learn though.
no, but check. We keep trying to do favors for Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns.
But I just feel
Even-
like it's not only a Chiefs problem.
I
why
hear
we are
you.
lacking quality. Because for me, also, there's 2 ways into this. There's not a lot of quality in our league that can suit the style of play Chiefs or what Chiefs necessarily want, because they are genuinely building a team. That's why I'm saying this thing also starts from the other 13 or 12 teams in our league, that they need to serve different purposes. You understand?
feeder
Should
clubs
they
to them.
serve-
as FIFA, yes,
As
yes,
feeder clubs
for
to them.
sure, 100%.
But I can't be
but
a
how
club
they-
that's feeding, but I'm trying to compete in the same league.
That's different. Brighton does that. In the English Premier League in Spain, it happens. You know what I mean? And those clubs can use that money that's why I'm saying they need to serve different purposes. There's free agents, there's experienced players. Those teams can invest in some of the players that were released, like a Rivaldo Kutse. Therefore, I'm making an example.
But here's the
You
thing.
take a
Love him at
Rivaldo
Chiefs.
Kutse, you put him at Obit. Let me make an example.
Okay.
Obit releases an exceptional defensive midfielder to Mamelodi Sundowns. They take that money, they invest in a Rivaldo Kutse, they invest probably, let's say, in another player.
Or you could end up like Southampton.
No, I don't.
You can.
With the right structures.
Yeah.
Those teams need to serve different purposes.
But is this conversation a conversation for Chiefs? Because
Yes.
I mean it in the sense that if I'm Skukune,
Yeah.
dog, I'm playing in Africa, let's say, or Stellenbosch. I'm
Yeah.
playing in Africa already. I make my money there. Why should I be trying to help a team that's number 9?
I get that.
You get what
that.
I mean?
Chiefs,
It feels like it's a favor. Like it feels like we're asking the other teams to really help. And it goes to my next question. Can I just
it's not really helping Chiefs, George. You know what I'm trying to say? Chiefs is in a different phase in their phase now in terms of building. They need to bring in certain players that will revive the club, right? That's why I initially said they need to build a team. They need to bring in players that understand how to play for that badge, right? And the best way is some of the development players need to be given an opportunity, in my opinion, right? I don't think about Chesley, even though they would do well, it would be a 1 in a 3 or 1 in a 4. But for me, what will improve South African football and what will improve Chiefs is exactly what Pirates is doing now. Pirates is following the same model, where they are getting in some of the best players in those teams. But now we also have to be intelligent enough to know how to strengthen those teams, right? We need to stop using those free agents, for example. We need to start paying a transfer fee to those teams so that those teams can benefit. But also how those teams are ran, it's important, because if those teams are ran properly with the right resources, with the right structures, with the right players, with the right mandate, understanding their role in the league, no one should expect an Obit to win the league. No one should expect it should have as Kukune to win the league. But Kukune should have 6-5 exceptionally young, gifted players that have an opportunity to represent the national team. You understand?
But then wait, Lindo. Are we saying that Chiefs? I'm trying to just put it together. So are we saying that the young players from Kaizer Chiefs? I just want to separate the points. The young Kaizer Chiefs should give young players a chance in the first team of Kaizer Chiefs.
Yes.
As the first part.
They need to build a team. And building a team, for me, is through their TDC. It's through scouting their TDC. For me, the route that they're taking, for me, it might take them longer to achieve what they want to achieve. That's why even last season, with whatever that they brought in, they were 9th. It hasn't improved season by season.
Yeah.
And for me, the best improvement is for them to understand that they need to build a team. They need to build a network within the teams
can you
that they work with.
Out of curiosity.
Pirates has that with Golden Arrows, with Chipa United. Chiefs needs that.
Out of curiosity.
They need that.
Does Chiefs want to win the league?
The fans do. The fans do. I would love to believe
The
that
fans,
the club,
right, but
for
does
sure, I would
Chiefs
like to
want to win
believe
the
the
league?
club does. I would love to believe that the club does want to win the league.
No.
What makes you, or you'd like to believe?
Yes, I would love to believe. Listening to the
Okay.
management, but obviously with how they
Just
move,
talk.
with the signings that they've been making the last couple of years,
And
it's
managerial
a sign that,
changes consistently.
I want
yeah,
to.
it's a sign that some.
Yeah.
You know what? This thing for me, I've actually thought about this like for a long period, and I might not be right with this, but I thought about this, and I said to myself, I believe that the best model in South Africa, and it's going to be difficult to replicate what Mamelodi Sundowns is doing. I think that's why they are the most successful club, right? But I believe that the other two teams can be successful exactly like that. We need to get into a space where we understand that different clubs serve different purposes in our league. You understand? And as soon as we understand that, we will understand the kind of coaches that need to be coaching in our teams that are not as big as the Chiefs as the Pirates. How they are structured, the players that are brought into those clubs, right? The CEOs. That's why I'm pleading with the PSL and the NSL executives to say we need to get into a space where we've got 2-3 teams that that develop young coaches, that develop young players, and they serve their purpose. They serve genuinely their purpose. But also the big clubs need to do justice to those teams by making sure that transfer fee, whatever the resources that need to be provided to the team are provided to the team. Those teams will do a world of good for the big 3 teams by making sure that they give us seasoned players. That's the first thing. You cannot be playing for a Kaizer Chiefs and you haven't even played 50 games. It can happen with the Willem Fouquet.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be. We shouldn't be playing for Kaizer Chiefs and you haven't even been playing in a stadium that is full of fans.
Hearing
you know
the
what I mean?
purpose,
Yet you are still 21, 22, 20, and you get a move. You were playing for Obit while you were 19, 20, given an opportunity in your first season, second season. You are an exceptional talent. We are patient with you. You are developing. You are learning the basics. You are learning the game. Then you can get a move to Kaizer Chiefs.
But I'm hearing the purpose that smaller clubs must have for the big 3. What's the purpose of the big 3?
The purpose of the big 3 is exactly that.
To win.
For sure. For sure.
So
and to win continental
so they
trophies.
must win at the expense of other smaller clubs.
For sure, it happens in all big clubs do that. Bayern signs players. Lewandowski doesn't mind moving from Dortmund. That's why I said Gumetro FM when I was
But I don't know. Wait, Lindo, wait. Just because Bayern is buying the players, it doesn't mean the purpose of the Mainz, the Colognes, all the other teams are to feed them. They just it has to be that way because Bayern has the resources.
But they
That's all
serve
it
different
is.
purposes in their community. They serve, yes, winning the, remember,
No, but
winning the
community
league
purpose is one thing.
Yes.
Talking about strictly the club.
For
and
sure.
the, and the league.
You know what football does, right, Khalifang? And we are coaches, right? Winning a trophy is not the ultimate in football, right? We know this.
Okay.
There's so many ways to win in football. Me,
But
personally,
then
I
isn't-
won when I have developed and Ngbono Chocha Dlala ku PSL.
No. Here
I have won.
That's
Yeah.
idealistic.
No. The only problem I have with this is that it's my team, but I don't want to give them an out because I think the league has been functioning that way for a very long time, and now we're seeing that some of those things are not sustainable. You look at a super sport right now; they develop a lot of players. Status is gone. They got relegated. Status is gone. They sold it, whatever, because it just wasn't sustainable enough.
Yes.
Even while they were developing. And maybe if SuperSport at some point had decided that, okay, we've just won the league 3 times, we're pressing this button now.
We're going.
We're not selling to anybody.
going.
We're going. And I've got 2 questions, because for time's sake, I've got 2 questions for you, gents. Number 1, when you look at these SuperSport teams and stuff like that, are we waiting for Chiefs to rebound? Ne? Okay, while we're waiting for Chiefs to rebound, can we not create a new Chiefs? a new Pirates, a new Sundowns? Is
As
it
in-
forbidden?
So another
No.
big team to get into the fray of things.
Like I'm saying, you know how, for example, Moroka Swallows was a really big team up to a certain point.
Yeah.
And then Chiefs came in and knocked them off
Yeah,
and went.
yes.
It feels as though we are not willing for somebody to knock Chiefs off. We are still trying to trade off and say, no, Chiefs must be given, other people must
Yeah.
play roles. Can we not have a team that becomes the Kaizer Chiefs and says, you know what, guys, we are the new big three, big two,
Yeah.
big whatever. Similar to what, Mamelodi
City
Sundowns
did.
is always bigger, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Similar to what a City did.
Can we? Are we
it's
not
possible.
allowing them?
You know what? I don't think it can get to a Chiefs level because it's going to need decades, right? In terms of decades. But I think what it can happen, a Bloom Celtics can achieve something closer to being a big four, big three kind of a thing. Because I believe, and I was thinking about this, that if that consortium does the right things by doing that Bloemfontein Celtics and they bring in a coach like Urulani,
Are you talking about in terms of strength of brand?
strength of brand and
Okay.
and the 12th man as well.
Okay, okay.
This Bloemfontein Celtics used to have some incredible
Of course,
football
yeah.
players, and I like the fact that they used to serve their purpose and they understood that we need to get the best young players in Bloom or get the best young players in South Africa, and they used to do well. Top 3, top 4, challenging for honors. You would see a Bloemfontein Celtics all the time in a final. But my bigger point is, George, I know this is not the conversation. But for me, for Chiefs to really come back and for us to understand, Chiefs serves a different purpose in this country.
I understand what you're
I mean?
saying. My only issue is that with the players that we're speaking about, I am scared of. Okay, there's two problems here for me. I don't think anybody understands what Chiefs culture is. Even the DDC players, I don't think they get it. They've played at Chiefs, they're doing the stuff, but I don't think they have the same connection that maybe we do.
Yeah.
And what I'm scared of with the DDC players is that they're going to walk into a team that doesn't have a culture, that doesn't have leaders, that doesn't have all that stuff. And then now you're going to put really young players at a very important time of their careers in a space where they're going to be killed.
Yeah.
I mean, if old players are worrying about what my performances do, what's going to happen, and I can only imagine what the youngsters with no, bare we koba ile metsi ba metsi and now tlo ba koba.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Instead of having people that can help them out, that's part of my issue that I don't think. And then number 2, going off of that is then it becomes the question of, does Chiefs know what it is?
Exactly.
Because
That's what
now
I'm
we've
asking.
seen that the scouting, we've seen that the players, the recruitment and all of that stuff, that it doesn't seem like Libona they understand. I feel that Chiefs' problem, personally, is that they're trying to copy a model that does not fit. You spoke about teams and models. I don't think there's a best model. I think there's a best model for your team.
Yes.
And I feel, down to my core, where Chiefs lost it was when they tried to replicate Upitso through Steve Compel.
Okay.
So they tried to take the model here Sundowns at that time. It's a coach that was, okay, he wasn't like the top winning coach or whatever, but he was a coach that was very solid. He
I
was
don't
on
think
his
that
way
was
up.
wrong.
No, wait.
I think it didn't work.
I think it was wrong because no. You went away from what you do well. Do you know why some of these teams are struggling? Your Manchester United and all those guys is because they moved away from what they do well. They do incredibly well. And do you know what they've done? They tried to adopt other things. And we've spoken about this tactically as well. That when you see Pep Guardiola playing tiki-taka and you're like, oh, that's such a beautiful football.
me
You
do
don't know that Pep was sitting with his team and he went, actually, you know what? I have this problem in this team. What if I invert my right back? Man?
Yeah.
And it worked. Now you are always trying to be second best, chasing something that is not yours. And now Chiefs has been in the wilderness for so long because they don't know. Now they've even lost a semblance of themselves. I spoke to Chiefs fans. The reason why people don't like me as a Chiefs fan, I spoke to Chiefs fans and I said, what if your culture is helicopter football?
What if?
Yeah, what if? Yeah,
Because when we go backwards, Gavin Hunt gets us to a quarterfinal of the CAF Champions League playing something that we would say is ugly football. Ernst Middendorp, the last coach to challenge Sundowns, the last coach to be within 3 points of Sundowns. Ernst Middendorp lost it on the final day, helicopter football. Stuart Baxter, SBZ, transition football, was the coach that won us 2 leagues. So at what point do we then say, you know what, guys, Siyayibona lento emnandi yenzwa iSundowns. Siyayibona lento emnandi yenzwa iPirates. Siyazibona bamnandi bayenzani. But maybe our football is that. Maybe we must just accept.
You know what? Over the years, people have always
needs bravery.
Yeah.
To do that, it needs bravery. Because right now, as fans, as whoever, we all know football now. We all watch it. We're all tactical, and we all know what inverting and half space and whatever, right? So you don't want to be known as the unattractive. You don't want to be Stoke. You don't want to do that. Everyone wants to be mad and pass the ball into them.
But Gumnand by Stoke.
No,
Don't you want to be?
Chiefs,
Don't you want to be
Chiefs,
Man United?
If it wins, right? If it wins, you can say, dog, sharp. Even like us, Sundowns, I win. You'd hear Lindo speak. Ish, I don't like. We won, but I call. You know, it did not hit the spot like that. Because at the end of the day, this is about enjoyment, right? Isn't purely about the result and the cup.
But again, go back to Chiefs' history. I will say this a lot forever, guys. Chiefs never had a style of play.
Yeah, let me land with this, George. Right?
Never.
With the style of play thing.
Okay.
Kaizer Chiefs has always been a team that plays percentage football. Kaizer Chiefs has always been a team that relies on individual brilliance.
Whatever works.
You know what I mean? Because that's my point to say. For me, what does Kaizer Chiefs need? For me, Kaizer Chiefs needs Kaizer Chiefs needs they need to improve their development players to being special players, to being almost complete like before they get into Lentus. The second thing they need is they need seasoned players, young seasoned players, right? Who have performed exceptionally well in our Betway Premiership.
Okay.
The third thing they need is seasoned players. Seasoned, experienced players, I mean to say. But not just experienced players, but proper experienced players that have won things. For me, what Kaizer Chiefs needed, I thought, because they are bringing in the young players, the group of young players that they're bringing in, Abu Taj, Abu Festival and so forth. I thought, in my opinion, they were going to bring in experienced but almost complete like players. Example, I thought they were going to bring in a Pesitao. I thought they were going to bring in a Lodge. I thought, in my opinion, they were going to bring in a
Sipombule. For a moment.
Yeah.
Do you think if you put Chiefs, Pirates and Sundowns and all the profiles of players that you've just mentioned,
Yeah.
is Chiefs a good option to go to?
If I'm Lodge, looking at Kaizer Chiefs, looking at the profile of players they have now, I'm thinking to myself, there's no other big team that I would want to play for in South Africa than going to Kaizer Chiefs. If I am Pesitao, I'm thinking to myself, some of the players have.
But why?
Why?
Based on why? Why would a lodge, as you say, if you're a lodge and you're sitting there,
Yeah.
you're like, okay,
It's a retirement home.
Why?
It's not a retirement home.
It's a retirement
For me,
home.
Lodge is 31. PSC is 31.
It's a retirement home.
Those people they still have 4 years to give you.
Cool, but why go to Chiefs and not the other ones?
Because they're ceiling raisers.
Because
in my
they're not
opinion. And
wanted.
Mamel, they are
You
ceiling
see.
raisers.
They're not wanted. The Percy is not even
see.
thought of at
I
Pirates.
understand that Kaizer Chiefs might not go that route, but I'm speaking about my opinion. Maybe Chiefs might not go that route. I am saying those are the players they need, and collaborate that with the young players, right? If they bring in a Velipaye, Elangelihle Pili,
But
for example,
what I'm
right?
asking you,
Let me land.
what I'm asking you is, I understand the type of, you've mentioned the
Yeah.
profiles of players that they need.
Yeah.
Experienced, seasoned, young,
Yeah.
all those things. Why go? What would make someone choose a young, experienced, seasoned player? Why would you choose Chiefs instead of Sundowns?
Kaizer Chiefs is a massive club. That's the first thing, right?
Okay.
Second thing is, as a person, you always believe that you might be a shining light of something.
Okay.
And for me, if I'm sitting there, I'm Lodge, I'm thinking, I can change this. I can genuinely give Kaizer Chiefs top 3, top 4 with another trophy. For me, that's a successful season, in my opinion. And the reason why I'm saying they need that is because they need killers. They need match winners. You know what I mean? A Lodge is a match winner. A Pesitao is a match winner. Then you've got these younger players that now they've been playing under so much pressure,
But isn't
having
that
the
what- isn't
responsibility
that-
to carry Kaizer Chiefs.
Isn't that Serino what's supposed to be doing?
No.
One of the best players we have in the league, but he can't do it alone. As much as Upilat couldn't do it alone. You add Upesi in that space, you add Lodge in that space. Now you're talking about the Chiefs. Imagine a Kaizer Chiefs
Another
with a
Sundowns.
Lodge on the left, with Userino as a number 10, with Ulile.
No,
as a
I
right.
can't. No.
Wait, I'm just making an example.
Yeah.
Then you have Upesi,
Yeah.
sometimes running the channel in terms of E9, right? Then from there, you've got Umart, you've got Uqele, you can build from there, in my opinion. Then Abom Tu, Abo Shabalala, you can
Yeah.
always bring them when you're playing against a Makesi or Obit.
But here's my
balance
thing,
the squad.
Lindo.
In games where you
No.
genuinely need experience,
Yeah.
where you need match winners, I believe that you need a Pesita.
No. Do you know why I don't want to Pesitao in that
Yeah.
space? I don't want to Pesitao because I don't want a player that has done other things elsewhere, because that hunger is a false hunger. It's not a full hunger. A lodge that comes from the Club World Cup, that comes from Wydad, that comes from Sundowns, that comes from Pirates, when it gets to Kaizer Chiefs and the going gets tough, do you know what happens? They start going, oh yeah, wait, there's no pressure here.
But wait, don't you?
And do you know what's also nice? It's one of the biggest clubs in the country. I get to retire. Do you know what kills the older players when they get to Kaizer Chiefs?
Uh-huh.
You get love without needing anything. You know, at Sundowns you need to play. At Sundowns you need to come with receipts.
But don't you? But isn't the leader one that has done it before? Can't he then be able to say, "Hey, we're are here now"?
But that's why I said no. Wait,
you spoke about character.
But
no. For me, that's what. For me, a Pesitao is not just.
Let me tell you what I'm saying. Where did Tefu Mashamaite come from?
No, but
where did Tefu Mashamaite come from?
Okay.
I'm saying from Wits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do the other players? Where is Sundowns and Pirates fetching players right now? Are they fetching them from fallen teams that have come under hard times? Are they fetching them from?
No.
What are they doing?
The no. Haven't worked. About Mtetwa, they haven't worked. Those players that they got from lower teams, they have not worked.
No.
Why not invest in your development?
Because I've seen the older players fail. I've seen Cirino. I was excited. I watched 4 games of Cirino. No, wait. I watched 4. No, wait. I watched 4 games of Cirino and it was hot. Do you know what happened after that? He was like, "Ow, this is nice."
Kaizer Chiefs as a team were inconsistent.
No. Don't forget.
I genuinely
believe. Don't forget.
Serino. I'm thinking.
Wait.
Okay.
Don't forget. Again, what I dislike when we have these conversations about Pesitao, about those guys, don't forget where they come from, guys. Don't forget. These guys come from a Sundowns where it's pressure. You have to work. You don't perform because it's nice and you're a great player and whatever. You perform because Tate Motsepe is going to sign 3 players in your position.
Yeah.
The coach is going to bench you if you don't play.
Yeah.
Right? That informs some of that performance. When you go to wherever, a Pirates, for example, when the youngsters get in the Pirates, they know that I've got a Hoto, I've got a SBC, I've got a Nda, I've got a McCallum, I've got those guys. Therefore, there's not that much pressure on me. So when I'm watching Urile performing at Pirates, he's got a base that he's not going to have at Kaizer Chiefs, for example. When you look at Avo Pesi's drive was to go overseas, was to go into all of these big things. Yeah. The problem is that you can't come back to Kaizer Chiefs. You can't come back to Kaizer Chiefs.
He did it at Pirates and won the league for Pirates.
Where? Where did he go? Where did he win it with Pirates? At Pirates, not at Chiefs.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, George.
I need the next Lodge. I don't need the Lodge from now. Yeah. I need the 26-year-old Lodge that's playing at Makesi. I need the 26 that's on the way, because that hunger.
That was my point. That was my point.
Yeah,
earlier to say.
Yeah, but that hunger is hunger.
Is, George, when you bring, how do you now make sure that the Lodge that is at Makesi is ready in the next season?
Because you go and fetch the Mashamaite from Wits. You go and fetch.
But now, how do you make sure
that's the experienced leader that I'm looking for. The Mashamaite from Wits, who wasn't wanted by the other teams, but because he was a certain leader and characteristic, he had certain personality characteristics, he fit at Chiefs. Now I've got a leader that I can then base the growth of Shabalala, the growth on all of those guys around. I don't go and fetch somebody who was a leader at one of the big teams. I hate them. Hate is a strong word, but I don't like those players, because when they come back to Kaizer Chiefs, they come and it's my grandfather's favorite team. I get to play for this big team. I get to be the guy and they just bask in that instead of actually working. They've already done that. The hunger that Abu Sirino, Abu Pesi, all those guys had was spent. Yeah. Was spent when he was at Belgium. Was spent when he was all over the place. When he gets to Kaizer Chiefs, it's retirement. Yeah. It's a very nice retirement.
Why doesn't Lodge do that when he goes from England to Al Ahly? And why is Lodge moving from Sundowns to Al Wydad and gives unbelievable?
Is Wydad not a step up?
For me, I just feel like
is Wydad not a step up?
Is Wydad not disrespecting the professionalism of these football players?
Is Wydad not a step up from Pirates? Wydad has 5 Champions Leagues to their name. When you get there, you are the foreigner. You are the plumber. You have to perform. Right now, he had to prove himself to those guys. There's no, you're Lodge, you were great. Now you're going to come play at Chiefs. Those guys looked at Lodge. Remember the questions they were asking when Rulani brought in Lodge? That means that every single day, Lodge has to come out there and perform.
They knew exactly
and
who
earn
Lodge
it.
was.
And he has to
They knew
earn
exactly
it.
who Lodge
But he
was.
has to earn
He
it.
must
Because
earn
he's
the right
not-
to play.
100%.
So, look,
would he have to?
Chiefs,
Would he
George,
have
Chiefs
to?
is in a different
Would he
space.
have to earn it at Chiefs?
But
No,
George, Chiefs is in a different space. I'm not
That's why
saying
I'm
they need to bring in,
saying-
I'm not saying they need to bring in 5 of these guys. I am saying they need to bring in the right quality with the right leadership, with the right character.
And I
personality.
wouldn't bring
And
in
that-
Percy.
And I understand.
And
with the
I wouldn't
Percy
bring
thing.
in Lodge.
I understand that, but I was not. I'm speaking about the profile, right? Because for me, with exactly what they have now,
Yeah.
those are the profiles they need. And for me, Kaizer Chiefs is
Okay.
not Kaizer Chiefs at this moment. It might look and seem like they needed 10 players, but I didn't think so.
No,
For
they
me-
don't.
For me, honestly speaking, I thought, in my opinion, they were gonna obviously let go of certain players that haven't proven themselves over the last 2 years, which I think it's fair. I think when you've played when you had 2 seasons in a club and you haven't proven yourself, you should have played over 50 games. I was shocked that Umashiane has played 69 games in over 7 seasons at Lendus. And for me,
but he's benched ever since the final.
And for me, you bring in young players, like you are saying. I at some point I agree with what you're saying, that you need that motivation. But we are building a team here.
No,
With a
okay,
team,
guys,
But I'm
George,
saying
you need different
wait.
tools. Sometimes you need
Can I just say one thing?
experience that comes from somewhere.
But what I'm
that
saying
can-
is,
Yeah?
I don't want to experience a Pesitao.
Okay, can we
I
allow
want
him to land?
wait. I don't want to experience a Pesitao. I want to experience Pasadine. Captain Stellenbosch.
Fair enough.
Bring him in. That's the
Fair
type
enough.
of. That's me. If I'm looking for experience.
He's in that. He's in the players that I'm thinking the Kaizer
But
Chiefs
now,
are
then
gonna
check.
why would you want to go to Chiefs?
No,
That's what I'm
but
asking.
check. Then that guy, I'm going to answer your question, but that guy, how do I put it? A Chiefs, a Pirates, a Sundowns may look like a step up. And because I haven't won anything, I know that the minute I land, they won the calling. But the minute I land at Kaizer Chiefs, my job is to go win the thing. Not that I've won everything.
Now I'm here
It's
for
in
what?
my bag. It's in my pocket.
But George, in what Kaizer Chiefs needs, you definitely need a Pasadena. Exactly the player.
That's
you're
what I'm
talking about.
saying.
But
Guys,
maybe 2 of
that's
those
the
players.
experience
But 2
I've
of
had.
those players, George.
That's the
the reason why Sundowns has signed a player from Pirates. There's a reason
That's
why.
fine.
The players that have gotten the godlike treatment. And Opamani say Andy Lechali. And we
No,
brought him to
no.
Sundowns. And
Yeah.
Sundowns, Andy
But at
Lechali
Sundowns-
was one of the best performing
But
players.
what
You
was
need that
what
sometimes.
was the environment at
Like,
Sundowns?
this is
Charlie,
what- Sure.
Charlie left Pirates.
Maybe let me
to
ask you
go,
a question.
No, check.
Do you think that Chiefs can't create
wait,
an environment?
Hello. Hi.
Charlie left Pirates to go win a star with
Hi.
Sundowns.
Hello.
There's another level. Like there's I need your first big level to be Chiefs, not to be that I have done the big
Then I
level.
go to
Now I'm
Chiefs.
coming back down to try and dig Chiefs up. That's why I'm saying like a Pasadena. Maybe you go to a Pasadena and you say, to answer your question,
Yes.
maybe you go to a Pasadena and you say, Pasadena, you have been the leader of Stellenbosch. You have been in the CAF Confed, you have done all those
Yeah.
things. Chiefs is in the CAF Confed right now. We need somebody who's got a certain leadership. We need somebody who's going to be a level head while we go and make this Chiefs whatever those guys are. That's the pitch. You say to them that, look, you
Yeah,
are
you
the
sell him
key,
the project, for
you are
sure.
the
You sell the project to
cornerstone
the
of
players.
this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Now, it's not going to get you to go, and it's down to the last few minutes. It's down to the second
last few
question.
minutes.
Second question I wanted to ask you guys is Chiefs also, if we're being honest, not shooting themselves in the foot by not fitting the bill, because we hear about players. So, for example, Chiefs might know exactly what they want to go get. But you're not willing to put down the 15 million for Apolis. You're not willing to put down I forgot how much it was for Mukwana. You're not willing to do that. And now you find yourself going to alternatives. You get what I mean?
To Indonesia.
Maybe let's talk about Mbule. Let's say Mbule is on the market. You might not be willing to bring in Mbule. So then your alternative is a Chislet, right? And I'm not going to say it's a bad thing.
Look, here's my thing.
So that's my question.
I think as fans, we believe Chiefs is something that it actually is not. Chiefs has not communicated and said, we want to win the league. Olindo is saying, I believe. When you say I believe, it's not what they've said.
No, big clubs. I think if I was a Kaizer Chiefs coach, or if I was a Kaizer Chiefs fan listening to my coach saying he doesn't want to win the league, I think the first thing, you don't deserve to be there.
But it's not. It's
Even
not
if you
about-
don't win the league, I want you to say it.
But
I will
even
win the
though-
league.
But they don't say that.
Yeah.
That isn't explicitly communicated. Hore, Chiefs wants to win the league.
Even if I'm the Khalifang, the coach has to say that.
You know,
He has to.
He said it.
If he doesn't say he doesn't belong, there,
no.
he doesn't belong. there.
Okay, besides the talking,
Nobody expects him to win the league, but nobody expects him to win the league. But he has to say, "I want to win the league."
Order. Sure. Is that we, like you say, we feel Chiefs should be in the run-in to win the league. But their actions are not necessarily saying that they're there to win the league. What all George is talking about is footing the bill. If you want to win the league, you pay the money to win the league. Maybe it's not even that they not necessarily don't have the money. The money is there, as you are saying, right? But they're like, actually, no, I'm just good being a big three and being in and around and being a big brand and still making money. Because regardless of what happens, is the brand is so strong, they'll make money regardless. And they'll be in the conversation. So maybe they're not even bothered about winning the league.
That might be true, but what I'm saying is they can't come to the media and say they don't want to.
They're not going to say it, but that's why they don't say we're going to win the league.
Yeah.
So I
was very impressed with Pirates about
with their chest.
And when they said in the beginning of the season, we want to win the league, and I said, this is how a big club
That's how
operates.
exactly.
And I don't. That's how Sundowns fans operate. When the season starts, you ask a Sundowns fan a question, he's gonna tell you straight, I want to win the Champions League.
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat.
I'm against. But I mean, personally, I don't care what a team says outside. What you see is the moves.
Yeah, you're doing it. Exactly.
And the reason why I'm asking this question is every time where Chiefs is maybe on the precipice of getting somebody. So let's say Apolis. Remember the Apolis thing. Pirates does it.
Makes it happen, yeah.
You get what I mean? He's announced. Apolis is a Pirates player. We don't know how much. We don't know what. It's announced.
Done.
It's done. With Chiefs, no man. We went in and the first offer was here's what's his name, Faisal Saloom. Apparently, allegedly, according to reports, Chiefs made an offer that was rejected. So now I look at the thing and I say, Pirates seems like when they want somebody, they move heaven and earth to go get them. When Sundowns want somebody, it's even become a known fact that the teams in the PSL were so happy when Tate Motsepe took over, because you could say 30 million and he goes, Bamba, I really want that guy. Is Chiefs then maybe that aspect of it where they're holding themselves
They
back?
need to serve that purpose, in my opinion, and that's the biggest credit I think the management of Kaizer Chiefs deserves, in my opinion. I think the biggest credit is them not playing up. Okay, allegedly so, because I was listening to Jessica and she did say we do pay our fees. For me, they have to play their role, and part of their role is to pay transfer fees to. They have to pay for Pasadena.
You have to.
They have to. Like,
But
they can't just
not.
have Pasadena.
But they are not.
But they are not,
That
which is
communicates-
something that we need to highlight and talk about. That's why I always say, and I'll go back to what I always say on the show, is we need to start those conversations. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we need to put pressure on the team, but for me, Chiefs needs to serve the purpose, because Stellenbosch might bring in 2-3 left backs from Cape Town. You're giving another child, you're improving another family's life, you're changing lives through that deal of moving Pasadena to Kaizer Chiefs. And Stellenbosch plays its role by ensuring that they get a left back from the lower levels of those teams in Cape Town. So 3-4 teams benefit from that, and that's what I'm saying with teams playing their role. And for me,
look, I'm
I'm not with you guys.
No, wait. We've got
Johan, you made $1 billion in one day, apparently, net worth wise.
Apparently,
You can pay Pasadena. You can listen.
Maybe-
if you
maybe-
see a door that's open, take it.
should we put more pressure on Stellenbosch to
we must close.
Take it,
improve the team,
Stellenbosch.
because we must.
Okay, for time, I'm going to jump in. We've pressed a bit. So, guys, like I always say, it's not just about the conversations that we have here. Obviously, we've got our opinions, but if you want to add on, please join the press. It's 3 of us pressing. We need the rest of the team. Whether you agree or disagree, put it down into the comments.
Wait. Actually, no. Angtanding banyana first and foremost.
Marana.
Don't we have another week?
You know,
WAFCON is starting.
No, I'm
now. We're gonna
upset.
talk
As
about
look,
WAFCON.
as a coach that coaches ladies,
Yeah.
it upsets me that you're telling me, Jorge,
Because Desiree doesn't
have a contract. You haven't paid Banyana
Yeah.
as a national team that's won the AFCON. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Okay, no,
It's
but
you know what?
we're going to table it. Let's table it. Let's put it
We
on
have
the
another
table.
week, right?
No,
It starts on the
true.
7th, right?
I was
Yeah.
gonna be like Linda, start going into my.
So guys,
emotional-
please, so please comment, press with us, comment, like, share, do all of those really nice things, and look for us everywhere, guys. Our friends at Sport Pesa are trying to make a lot of people a lot of money. There's some games that we have to look at now. And
Itretao,
speak about-
we fagile
Oh,
Itretao.
Itretao. Yeah, Itretao. Oh, yeah, hambi mali ya rent. Yeah, hambi mali ya rent. Yo, hey.
3,000 gone, boy. And inyanga
Crispino,
yakaphelile.
Njayam.
Inyanga isaseyinde mqiqishi.
And that is why you must bet responsibly, guys. FIFA World Cup action, FIFA Club World Cup action. We still have it. Ay, Fluminense versus Al Hilal. Al Hilal did the impossible, or what is deemed to be the impossible. Knocked out Manchester City. Fluminense, we've seen them throughout this tournament playing some incredible football,
Yeah.
putting some incredible displays up. In the last few games, Fluminense has 3 wins and 2 draws. The last one being a win, obviously. Al Ahly has also 3
Al
wins and
Hilal.
2 draws. Al Hilal, sorry, has 3 wins and 2 draws themselves. How do we feel about this game? Because this is one of the games that's going to make sure that we have an outsider of Europe that makes it into here. And 2 teams that have performed very well. How do you feel about them?
Wait, what are the odds saying though?
We're going to speak about the odds at the end.
You know what? The composition of the Al Hilal team is exceptional. The coach that they have, Inzaghi, I like the patterns. I like the structure of the team. I think the one thing he added to Inzaghi is, I think in the weeks that he came,
Still can't believe you went there. I still can't believe.
I think one thing that he added was the organization.
Njayam, bro. Yes.
Everyone has a price.
Yes.
Anyway.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think organization. But when you're talking about Fluminense, you are talking about a football story, in my opinion.
Yes.
I believe that they might win this game, and solely because football has these weird stories where you would find one team doing exceptionally well from the group stages, knock out the big teams, and ends up winning the thing. So, in my opinion, just to help people bet, I think both teams will score. But I do see Fluminense causing a shock.
Can I ask you, what do you say to people that say that Al Hilal is only doing well because they are UEFA B? You know, SMS is there, Inzaghi is coaching there. There's a couple of players that have come from the big leagues. Don't
That's
you
a
think
valid
that's
point.
going to play into
It's
this?
a valid point, and it can count. But I like just Ogulindo. I like the story of Fluminense.
Maracai's story.
Sometimes
Football is
football
about
has
feeling.
Some football is about storyline.
About feeling.
Yeah.
The football gods, we talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
them.
yeah.
It's a real
Sport
thing.
Pesa is not about feeling, guys.
We are helping. Sometimes I know it's not about feelings.
Banna.
I know Pesa is not about
Algorithm's
feeling.
fine. I hear you. But sometimes when it comes to sport, it's about feeling more than necessarily about what the numbers say.
All I'm hearing is
Fluminense.
Everybody expects
That's all
the
I'm saying.
Brazilians.
Okay, let's move on to the next Brazilian team. Palmeiras is taking on Chelsea. Palmeiras, top of their group.
Izinja, Chelsea.
Come on,
in the
Chelsea.
first part. They're playing Lindo's team.
Linda's
Let's see if does the story count here?
Does it count?
Does
Yeah.
the story count here, my brother?
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, Chelsea has become another club. And for me, like Chelsea, like I like the boy Joao Pedro that we just signed from Brighton. But I'm just thinking to myself, Chelsea used to sign Fernando Torres. Chelsea used to sign
Eish.
like exceptionally good players.
Now
You know,
he's
we used to
signing
bring in.
Delap.
Now, I like the boy though when you watch him, like
Yeah, when you
Utilep,
order
but
something,
he's
but-
not going to win me the Premier League.
No,
That's the
he's
thing.
not.
And Chelsea, you know what? I don't want to speak about this club because I'll end up being a fan. But to be honest with you, Brazilians will always be Brazilians, and they will always cause a problem on the wider areas.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Maresca inverting. Brazilians always have special players on the wider areas. I think they might look to capitalize on that. In my opinion, both teams, I think it's going to be a high game, high scoring game. I do see the Brazilians committing numbers up front. I know that Maresca doesn't like being pragmatic. So definitely both teams to score.
Yes.
You know, Chelsea win.
Yeah, that's because of how Palmeiras wants to attack with those numbers. Chelsea hit them on the counter.
Yeah.
That's what I see happening.
Yeah.
And Chelsea winning it and winning it. clean.
Oh, so now there's no story.
No.
Oh, now there's no story. There's a story for Fluminense, but there's no story for Palmeiras.
Yeah, we are. You know, sometimes you look at things.
Okay, here comes the big match. Champions League, UEFA Champions League holders. Paris Saint-Germain.
Paris Saint-Germain. Yes.
Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, of course, Hurricane. Those type of players on fire. You have PSG that can call on
What's
Abu
amazing me
Dembele.
is that players care about this tournament.
Money.
Players care about
Like
winning.
I'm so
Money.
Yeah, players care about winning.
Money.
But Club World Cup has always been that thing, you know. Now, I was surprised at the amount of players that are actually playing in it in terms of profile, and not only just a profile. When they score and there's a result on hand, like they actually care. I was like, oh, this is a real thing.
Initially, you thought it's a preseason
It's
tournament.
like,
Players, I just feel like
you know,
because of the money, but also the profile of the players as well.
Yes.
You know, I think it also means a lot to football clubs because there's a thing. What do you call it?
Little
Like
crest.
a badge.
Little crest, yeah.
I think everybody wants that on their T-shirt. I think it's a bragging right thing, even for the fans to say we're the biggest club in the world. So I think
they're
it
going
does
that
mean
way.
something. Yeah.
PSG all day. Every day.
And I think it should be that way. That's the highest level of
should be.
football. It should be.
So for me, I'm going with PSG win, particularly what they did the previous game.
I'm not sure with Xavi Alonso
PSG.
playing against Real Madrid, right?
No, Bayern.
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 Ooh, Bayern.
PSG Bayern.
I know, PSG win. I just feel like
PSG win.
Bayern is a team that can hurt you any day.
Yeah.
But I just feel like PSG is too strong, man.
Yeah.
Way too
PSG is
strong.
way too
But
strong.
a lot of quality in that team.
And that time, Dembele just came off the bench now. He's coming back now. It's a different story.
4-0 winners versus Atletico.
My boy.
Okay,
Them
okay.
boos. So PSG win.
Madrid, Dortmund. How are we feeling about Madrid, Dortmund?
Madrid all day,
Not
every
sure
day.
about Xavi
Look,
Alonso
look.
yet. I know it's been 4 games. Not sure in terms of style of play because
Yeah.
I think the one thing that because it was said in Germany that he's got a distinctive style of play. I think that's what we're looking for rather than
Guys,
results, which is unfair on him.
Are you watching
you know?
Madrid though?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Khalifang, is I believe that's so unfair on him because I think he moves like a Pep, where the style of play is more important than anything.
players.
But it's also effective how they're getting Trent to play, how Bellingham is playing,
Yeah, Trent
how
with his
Vinicius
first-
is playing
with
with
his
Garcia.
first,
Yo, guys, Madrid all day, every day.
Yeah, I think because they always have this charm.
Girassi, please.
Yeah, Bellingham on Bellingham crime.
No, it's Jude.
Okay.
Real Madrid has players that can cause you problems in terms of individual
too many.
brilliance, but
Too many.
I still want to see the system working rather than individual brilliance. I
No,
want to
I'm
see.
seeing- I'm
I
seeing
genuinely
it
want to
now.
see the system winning for
The
them.
struggle is when Mbappe comes through.
I was gonna ask you guys,
Him
Guti, is Mbappe not getting in the
Vinicius.
way?
Okay, because Garcia and Vinicius playing together. There's a understand what we're playing.
There's
running
a
the channels.
hierarchy.
There's a
There's a
now
hierarchy.
it's
Just
now
say
it's-
it, there's a hierarchy.
Yes. Now it's Mbappe. And
Yeah.
It's a different story. Will you do the running that necessary for that? Vinicius to win?
How are we feeling though?
Madrid to score 2 goals in the first half. Dortmund to score 1 in the second half. 2-1 result to Madrid.
2-0 Madrid clean.
2-0 Madrid clean.
Dortmund, get out of here, bro.
Okay, so now we can get into the actual what Sport Pesa is saying. So Sport Pesa is saying that Fluminense versus Al Hilal is actually a little bit close. 2.8 Fluminense, 2.55 Al Hilal. Remember, the smaller the number, the more likely the outcome.
Yeah.
The less money you get if it happens.
Pretty much, yeah.
So if the odds are 1 and 2 with me and Lindo, you think that I'm gonna win, and if you bet on me, you're gonna get the ×1.
Yeah.
If you bet on Lindo and he causes an upset, then you're gonna get double. Let's go to Palmeiras Chelsea. The odds are also very odd and big.
Okay.
Palmeiras 3.74 chance to win. A draw is 3.20 and Chelsea is 2.12 to win, which is not as clear.
Yeah.
It's not as clear of a win, but Chelsea is favored. Then when we get into PSG Bayern, that is very close, guys. Of course, it's very close. PSG 2.29, draw 3.6, Bayern Munich 2.97. So both of them are literally 0.668
Yeah.
Yep.
between each other. So that is a very close game. Then of course Real Madrid Dortmund are sham. Draw 4.24, Real Madrid 1.66,
Wow.
Dortmund 4.72.
A shame.
So
Of
Real
course,
Madrid.
It's Madrid, bro. It's Hala Madrid. What do you mean?
Aye.
What do you
Real
mean?
Madrid was having a problem.
Hala Madrid.
Allah.
So guys, please remember to bet responsibly on Sport Pesa. Make it count, and you could walk away with a little bit of money if you get things right. Yeah, man, just a young boost. mid-month.
Yeah,
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, join the press. This, of course, is at Lindo Pep on all platforms. And this, of course, is at Football Kalifang on all platforms. And I am at Overthinking Football on all platforms. You can find all of us there, but also like, share, comment, subscribe on all of our platforms, including Threeman Press and also Omni Audio. Guys, it's been great. See you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Do we have questions?
Hey, it's when did he give you the?
So is this Bruton Road or like?
You got 15 minutes.
So am I not leaving? Bounce. I need a but I need to bounce. But I have work to do. Actually, my Uber is literally. It can be 1 minute away. Actually. Literally.
So I guess once one person sees the comment, the next also wants to comment the next one. So I think all we need to do is in each live just push people to comment. Is this going on to the master or is it going on to the final? Can you do it on the live only? So it's like an overlay. Yeah, that means I'm moving forward. If I do it like this, then I have to report. Just straight there. Okay. Then I will send you the clean. Okay.